have proof that Kate's been stealing from us." Amanda's voice rang through the conference room, making every head turn toward me. I sat frozen, staring at the spreadsheets she'd dramatically thrown onto the table. My in-laws, who moments ago had been casually discussing quarterly reports, now looked at me like I was a stranger. My name is Kate Anderson, and at 34, I was watching my sister-in-law destroy the reputation I'd spent 8 years building in our family's manufacturing business. I'd joined the company right after getting my MBA, helping transform my father-in-law's struggling factory into a modern, profitable enterprise. "These numbers don't add up," Amanda continued, pointing to highlighted sections. "I've been tracking discrepancies for months, small amounts at first, but they've grown. All traced back to Kate's department." I tried to speak, but my father-in-law, Richard, held up his hand. Let Amanda finish. The trust in his eyes, trust that had taken years to earn, was already clouding with doubt. My husband Mike, usually my strongest supporter, sat silently, his face unreadable. Amanda had always been his baby sister, the family princess. Even now, as she systematically destroyed my life, he seemed unable to process that his sister might be lying. "Over $200,000 missing," Amanda declared, her voice trembling with fake concern. I didn't want to believe it at first. She's family, after all. But the evidence is clear. I finally found my voice. "This is ridiculous. I haven't stolen anything. Those numbers are fabricated." Amanda interrupted, sliding another document forward. "I had an independent auditor verify everything." She turned to her father, eyes wide with practiced innocence. "Dad, I know this is hard, but we can't ignore it." Richard's face had turned to stone. "Kate, do you have an explanation for this?" I reached for the papers, my hands steady despite the chaos erupting inside me. "Give me time to review these. Something's not right here." "Of course something's not right," Amanda snapped. "You've been stealing from us." That's when I saw it, a tiny smirk playing at the corner of her mouth when nobody else was looking. This wasn't about missing money. This was about Amanda finally making her move. She'd never forgiven me for coming into the business and succeeding where she failed. While I'd worked my way up, learning every aspect of operations, she'd bounced between departments, expecting promotions based on her last name rather than merit. "I want access to all the company's financial records," I said firmly. "If there's really money missing, we need to do a complete audit." "Absolutely not," Amanda protested. "We can't let her near any more financial documents. She'll just cover her tracks." Richard nodded slowly. "I think it's best if you take a leave of absence, Kate, until we sort this out." "Dad," Mike finally spoke up. "We can't just." "It's temporary," Richard cut him off. "But we need to protect the company." I stood up, my chair scraping against the floor. "Fine, but know this, I haven't taken anything. And when I prove it, don't expect me to forgive and forget." Amanda's eyes gleamed with triumph as security escorted me out. I caught her whispered words as I passed. "Good luck proving your innocence. Family always believes family first." What she didn't know was that I'd been preparing for something like this. Not because I was guilty, but because I'd seen the signs. The way she'd been cozying up to our accounting team, her sudden interest in financial reports, the late nights she'd started spending at the office. I'd learned long ago that being part of this family meant always having a backup plan. As I drove home that day, I made 3 calls, one to my private investigator, who'd been documenting Amanda's activities for months, one to my lawyer, who had copies of every transaction I'd ever handled, and one to a former employee who'd quit after catching Amanda in a compromising position with company funds. Amanda thought she'd won, using the family's trust against me. But she'd forgotten one crucial detail. I hadn't survived 8 years in this business by being naive. I kept receipts, documented everything, and most importantly, I'd never trusted her saccharine smiles. The next 3 months would test every relationship, every alliance, and every ounce of patience I possessed. But by the time I was done, Amanda would learn that sometimes the quiet ones are the most dangerous. Let them believe her lies for now. The truth had a way of surfacing, and when it did, I'd make sure everyone remembered who the real thief was. The next few weeks were a blur of whispered conversations and avoided eye contact. Mike tried to straddle the line between supporting me and keeping peace with his family, but I could see the doubt eating at him. "Just explain where you were when these transactions happened," he pleaded, not realizing he was falling into Amanda's trap. The worst part wasn't the accusation. It was watching how quickly everyone accepted it. Years of Christmas dinners, family vacations, and late nights helping with business crises meant nothing once Amanda pointed her finger. But I wasn't sitting idle. While they thought I was at home, wallowing in shame, I was building my case. My PI, James, had been thorough. "Your sister-in-law's been busy," he said, sliding a folder across my kitchen table. "Very busy." The photos showed Amanda meeting with someone I recognize, our former IT manager who left abruptly 6 months ago. "She's been seeing him regularly," James explained. "Always at the same cafe, always with her laptop." I nodded, pieces clicking into place. "Can you get access to their conversation?" "Already did." He pulled out a transcript. "They're not as careful as they think. Your sister-in-law's been planning this for months. She needed his help to access the financial systems." Meanwhile, my lawyer had uncovered something interesting in the company's recent transactions. Small amounts had indeed gone missing, but not during my shifts. They disappeared during late-night hours when Amanda was supposedly working overtime. The former employee, Sarah, finally agreed to meet me. We sat in a quiet diner, far from the company's usual haunts. "I should have spoken up sooner," she said, fidgeting with her coffee cup. "I saw her transferring money last year, but she caught me watching. Threatened to ruin my career if I said anything. And now?" Sarah smiled grimly. "Now I'm working for your biggest competitor. They can't touch me. I'll testify if you need me to." I was building a solid case, but Amanda had one advantage: time. Every day I was away, she embedded herself deeper into the company's operations. She'd even started moving into my office, according to my remaining allies in the building. The breaking point came when Mike found Amanda's evidence in his email. "Look at these transactions," he said, showing me his phone. "Kate, these have your signature." I took one look and almost laughed. "Those aren't my signatures. Look closer." He squinted at the screen. "They look real." "Check the dates," I said quietly. "According to these, I was authorizing transfers while we were in Hawaii for our anniversary. Remember that week? No phones, no laptops." Mike's face paled. For the first time, real doubt crept into his expression. Not doubt about me, but about his sister's accusations. "Why would Amanda?" he started, then stopped. "She wouldn't." "She would," I replied. "And I can prove it." That night, I laid out everything for Mike: the photos, the transcripts, Sarah's testimony. He sat in stunned silence, looking at years of his sister's careful manipulation. "I'll talk to Dad," he said finally. "We need to stop this." "No," I said firmly. "Amanda needs to reveal herself, and I know exactly how to make that happen." I called an old college friend who now worked for the SEC. "Those transactions you flagged?" I asked. "I think it's time for that audit." 2 days later, the SEC announced a routine investigation into the company's finances. I watched from home as Amanda's carefully constructed plan began to unravel. First, she tried to delete evidence, not knowing we'd already backed up everything. Then she attempted to pin more accusations on me, but the dates didn't match. Finally, she made her biggest mistake. She tried to access my old computer to plant false evidence. What she didn't know was that every keystroke was being recorded, every file transfer logged, and every desperate attempt to cover her tracks was being documented. Mike called me late one night, his voice tight. "Kate, you need to come in tomorrow. The SEC found something. She's not handling it well." I smiled, thinking of the file hidden in my desk drawer, the one piece of evidence I've been saving. "Tell everyone I'll be there at 9 a.m. sharp. It's time we had a family meeting." Amanda thought she'd won by playing the family card, by being the trusted daughter while painting me as the outsider. But she'd forgotten something crucial. Trust isn't about blood relations. It's about actions, integrity, and truth. Tomorrow, everyone would learn exactly what kind of person Amanda really was. And more importantly, they'd learn never to underestimate the quiet one who kept receipts. The next morning, I walked into the conference room like I'd never left. Amanda's face went from smug to shocked as I took my old seat, placing a single USB drive on the table. "What is she doing here?" Amanda demanded, looking frantically at Richard. "She's not supposed to be anywhere near the company during the investigation." Richard looked tired, older than his 60 years. The SEC investigation had taken its toll. "Let her speak, Amanda. After what they found yesterday, we owe her that much." I connected the USB to the projector, pulling up a series of files. 3 months ago, I sat in this room and listened to accusations that destroyed my reputation. Today, we're going to watch a different story unfold. The first video played, security footage of Amanda meeting the former IT manager. Their conversation, captured by my PI's excellent audio equipment, was damning. They discussed accessing the financial systems, creating false trails, even the exact amounts they framed me for stealing. Amanda jumped up. "This is edited. She's trying to." "Sit down," Mike said quietly, his voice carrying more authority than I'd ever heard. "Watch." The next file was a series of bank statements, Amanda's personal accounts showing deposits matching the missing amounts. Then came Sarah's sworn testimony, backed by photographs and timestamps. "You planned this for months," I said, turning to face Amanda. "You thought if you discredited me, you'd finally get the recognition you felt you deserved. But you forgot something crucial. I learned this business from the ground up. I know every system, every protocol, and most importantly, I know how to protect myself." Amanda's composure cracked. "You don't understand. I deserved that promotion. I'm family, real family. You're just some outsider who married in and took everything that should have been mine." The room fell silent. Richard stood slowly, his face ashen. "Amanda, what have you done?" "What I had to," she screamed. She came in with her fancy MBA and her perfect ideas, and suddenly nothing I did was good enough. "Dad, you used to be proud of me." "I'm still proud of you," Richard said softly, "but right now, I'm also deeply disappointed." The SEC investigators chose that moment to enter. They had everything they needed. The proof of embezzlement, the falsified documents, the conspiracy with the IT manager. Amanda's face crumpled as they began reading her rights. As they let her out, she turned to me one last time. "I hate you," she spat. "You've ruined everything." I shook my head. "No, Amanda, you did that yourself." The aftermath was quieter than I expected. The company survived, though our reputation took a hit. Richard insisted on a public statement clearing my name, and the board voted unanimously to reinstate me with a promotion. Mike struggled with his sister's betrayal, but our marriage emerged stronger. "I should have trusted you from the start," he said one night. "I'm sorry. You were caught between your sister and your wife," I replied. "But next time, remember who keeps the receipts." 6 months later, I sat in my new office, the one with the corner view that Amanda had always wanted. The company was thriving under new financial controls I'd implemented. More importantly, the family was healing. Richard stopped by my office one afternoon, looking more like himself. "I've been thinking," he said, settling into a chair. "We need to make some changes to the company's structure. Set up better checks and balances." I nodded, pulling out a proposal I'd been working on. "Already ahead of you." He smiled, really smiled, for the first time in months. "Of course you are. That's why you belong here. Not because you married in, but because you earned it." Amanda took a plea deal, reduced charges in exchange for full cooperation. She'd served some time, but not as much as she could have. The family decided to support her recovery, but with clear boundaries this time. As for me, I kept every document, every recording, every piece of evidence from that time. Not because I was bitter, but because the experience taught me something valuable. Sometimes the best revenge isn't about getting even. It's about standing your ground and letting the truth speak for itself. The last time I saw Amanda, she was being led away in handcuffs. But it wasn't triumph I felt. It was sadness for a woman who let jealousy poison everything she touched. I had what she'd always wanted, not because I'd schemed for it, but because I'd earned it through hard work and integrity. These days, when new employees join the company, they often hear two pieces of advice: document everything, and never underestimate the quiet ones. After all, we're usually the ones paying attention. The family business continues to grow, stronger now for having weathered the storm. And me? I keep my USB drive locked in my desk drawer. A reminder that sometimes the best defense isn't just being right, but being prepared to prove it.